Hello, so these are the clay packets that I've gone for. It is just from Hobbycraft and they're just white clay, 1 kilogram, and they are air drying. I'm just going to try and make some shapes now basically. So I thought it'd be quite fun to watch. I'm just going to set you up and hopefully this will be a decent time lapse. Yeah, that's basically everything. I'm just going to set you up whilst I make some shapes out of it. I'm just going to open it and cut some off and then seal it back up. And I've got a old Sharpie to use to have as a rolling pin, so we'll see how it goes. Hello, so back on the clay pins. It has been 4 days since I made them and they all seem really dry. On the website that I ordered them from, that I ordered the clay from, Hobbycraft, it basically said to leave 4 to 5 days. If there wasn't an instruction of that, I would have said they were dry after 2, but I left them 4 days and they all seem perfectly dry. So I've now just got a little bit of sandpaper. This is just 120 grit, just what I've got. And I'm now going to go through and sand them all. And then after sanding it gets to the exciting painting part. But so far I'm really happy with how they've turned out. They look really cool. So yeah, I'm just going to go through and sand them all. Okay, so it's taken me 5 minutes to sand this one down. I think I'm gonna focus. It's not perfect, you can still see there's some lines, but it's quite smooth, which is the main objective. So yeah, I'm just gonna keep going and getting through all of them. Okay, so I haven't sanded all of them, but I've sanded down my ghosts, my cats, my mushrooms and my hearts, and I'm gonna do a bit of painting of them. What I have seen is to do a coat of white on them first, because then if it's going to get soaked up, the white will get soaked up, not the actual colour you're putting on. So I'm going to do that. So yeah. Okay, so here are the pins so far. That's some of them, and we're just finishing off these ones. So the plan is to let them dry and make sure they're dry, and then I think the next thing I'm going to do is actually stick the pins onto them. All I've got left to do is that and the resin. Looking online, it looks like it's going to be easier to do the resin if they're like lifted up, like if I can like pin them onto something and then like just plop it over. There doesn't seem to be a concise answer as to what's the easiest to do, but I'm going to go with put the pins on, then do the resin and hope for the best. So yeah, I will come back once they're dry, I guess, and put the pins in. Okay, so the pins are dry. I'm hoping you'll be able to see nicely there. Is it going to focus? Yeah, so I'm going to stick the pins on them now. So I've just got these little pins and they come with the backs. So all I'm going to do is take one out, if I can. Flip the pin upside down, figure out where I want it. So I'm going to want it pretty central. And using this jewellery glue that I got, I'm going to just plop some on and pop the pin in. So I'm hoping it'll be nice and simple. For the ghosts, I'm not sure whether to use one pin or two because they're quite large. I'm going to have a little play around. So I've just checked the listing where I brought these little pins from and there's nothing to do with weight there. So I'll do two. You can't even see this. So do I do two like this? Or do I do one in the middle? I think I'm just going to go for one in the middle. It's really light, so I think it'll be okay. Okay, so I actually ended up making a lot of clay pins. That little pack that you saw me start making them out of has made, I reckon there's probably 100 here. So that's interesting. I will put like something over the screen of like what I can see right now. There's a lot. And they're all painted and they've all got their pins on. So now it is time for the resin. I'm not gonna lie, this is the one that I'm scared about. Like, this is the part that I'm like, I have no clue what I'm doing. Like, so it could be scary. I just brought this one. It was just one that was on the Hobbycraft website, and it was bio based, and I was like, well, hopefully it's decent then. You'd think if a company's trying to be like green and ethical, it would be decent, so I'm hoping it'll be decent. And it's also a glazing resin, because I did read you could get cheaper resins to go over the top that were water based, but right now most of my colours, like my paint colours, are gouache, which is also water based, and I read if you used a water based resin it can make the gouache like leak and smudge, I guess. So I'm hoping that buying a glazing resin it won't do that. I mean, I don't know for sure. I found this sort of stuff very difficult to look into and difficult to figure out exactly what I was meant to be buying. So yeah, if anyone is watching that does already do like clay and like or anything they need resin for, if you've got any like good resin options, please leave them in the comments. Like, I'm not sure what I'm doing here, but yeah, Jay's agreed to help me, so I'm going to take it all downstairs and basically just give all of the pins a wipe over with a microfiber cloth, and then I'm leaving them pierced through the actual boxes, and I'm hoping that if I like put it over the top, that as long as I'm careful and make sure there's no drips, that it'll just do it in one. So we've got 2 parts of part A to 1 part of part B. I'm going to mix a little bit of it together, follow the instructions, and then hopefully get on with it. Okay, so I'm going to start putting it on. I'm going to use the actual lollipop stick that it's given to put it on. And then there's quite a few bubbles in it. I think I mixed too vigorously, but I read that if you use a toothpick it gets rid of them. So Let's attempt our first one. Right, so camera's going to die, but we've got gloves here. These are all done. These, that row and the ones around the back are done. These, all except for those two at the front, are done, and none of these are done, so we'll get back to it tomorrow. So I've just gone to start taking some of the pins off, and these ones have all come off okay. I'm quite impressed with them. I think they look pretty good for a first attempt. I'm hoping they're not quite dry because I feel a little tacky and like I don't want that. These three have kind of come off okay, but on the backs a little bit of paint peeled off, so I might try and fix them. And then these two have completely broke. All of these two, and all of this back row here are completely stuck. The resin between the pin and the cardboard has merged, and I'm not really sure how to get them off. I've tried with the little lollipop stick that came with it, and I've tried with a knife, and it won't come off. So a little bit stuck, and I'm afraid I think most of them are going to end up breaking as I'm pulling them off, which is unfortunate. Yeah, I'm going to try my best, but obviously that's quite a lot of pins we did last night. We did 2 rounds of the resin. I mean, we didn't use all of it either time because it was getting too tacky, but I'll talk about the actual resin and the process and how dreadful that was after we've finished them. But yeah, just thought I'd update that you can't even get it off either, so I'm not happy with the resin as it was. And I can't update. So yeah, if you do make this sort of thing and you do have any recommendations, please leave them down below. And what should I use rather than cardboard boxes, because they're all stuck, so that's obviously not right either. Okay, so as you might have seen from the last clip, I was just finishing off some of the pins. I've only done, I think I've managed to finish about 15, but they're looking so cute, and I made these little backing cards for them as well. That's the pin, and I just think it looks so cute. I'm really happy with how they've turned out, but there have been quite a few issues. Basically the resin. I think that resin would have been really good if you were just doing one big item, but it dried so quickly and got tacky so quickly that you couldn't really get it on. Like, you literally had about 10 minutes from mixing it to getting it on, and like we're trying to do, like, I think I made 100 pins in the end, so it just wasn't the best. And because of that reason, a lot of them are like not good enough, which is obviously annoying. Like, quite a few of them, the pin on the back has ended up dropping off, or they end up being chipping, or it's stuck to the cardboard too much and then that's all attached to it, and there's just a lot of extra work to do now. I can probably show an example. So for instance, this little flag that I made looks alright from the front, but then if you look at the back, like, it's stuck and pooled around all of the cardboard. So obviously at some point I'll try and fix that and figure it out, but it's just a lot of work, especially when the majority of them have turned out like that. I glazed half of them, and I've still got enough glaze left to technically do the other half, but I'm kind of putting it off and thinking I might try a different glaze next time. But except for that, I think it's gone really well. This was like my first attempt at pin making and air dry clay and all that, so yeah, I'm really happy with how the good ones have turned out. I should have done a bit more research into the resin, but as far as like the clay, drying the clay, painting the clay, all of that went really well. I tried a few different types of paint on it. I tried acrylic paint, gouache paint and Posca pens, and all three worked really well. There's actually, most of the pins, there's probably a mixture of what paint I've used on them, and yeah, all three stuck really well, all three worked really well. You'll have seen as well that the first few that I did, I painted a layer of white on first. What I found was that was really good if I was using the gouache paint, but for the acrylic and the pens it wasn't necessary, like it didn't need it. Some of the bigger ones I made at the start are a bit bulkier than what I think you'd see a pin as. Like, you can see that there, it's quite a big pin. Yeah, and this is one where I still like it, but again, it's one where the acrylic has dried on it and it looks pretty good, but when you like really turn it in the light, there's quite a few, there we go, there's quite a few like lumps and dents in it, just from where the glaze and the resin has like gone over the top and it hasn't flattened itself, even though it was meant to, just because it was getting too goopy and too like sticky, which it shouldn't have been. So yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed the video. If you'd like more videos like this, probably less talking and just me actually making with some nice music, do let me know, because I'm definitely up for that. Give it a like if you liked it, subscribe down below if you'd like to, and I'll see you next time. Bye.